Today's Friday, April 11th, 2025, and you are listening to episode number 21 of the DogHouse podcast.
From DogHouseSystems.com, this is the DogHouse podcast.
All right, we'd like to welcome everybody back. It's been quite the week.
Been a busy week.
It has been a busy week and a crazy one. From a couple different standpoints. Obviously, I guess we could talk about tariffs. Don't really want to talk about tariffs, but maybe at the end of the podcast, we'll bring it up just a little bit. And busyness also was on the road this week up in Chicago visiting some of our customers. So that was good. But very glad to be back in the office today, kind of wrapping up the week. So thanks both of y'all for joining me. We've got Abby and Lorenzo here today with us. And we'll go ahead and get right into the first segment, which is Bark Bits.
All right. So our first topic today is China launches an HDMI and DisplayPort alternative, GPMI, and it's two form factors. One is USB-C connector that supports up to 96 gigabit per second and 240 watts. So very similar to USB 4 version 2, because sure, that's a thing now.
Yeah.
It also has a wider type, they call it a type B connector, which is about twice as wide as USB-C connector, which do 192 gigabit per second and 480 watt. This is, from looking at the specs, supposed to be a media interface first and foremost. So likely we'll see it on TVs, and a bunch of TV manufacturers Chinese-based TV manufacturers signed on to include this for 8K high refresh rate content. But it is, in its USB-C variant, backwards compatible with USB-C devices. So in theory, if you have a laptop or a phone or device that connects via USB-C, you can use that to do media controls, like turn on and off volume control, change settings on your TV, and also do data, video, and control both devices. It's a bi-directional connection, which would be pretty cool.
The one cable that could do it all.
Which is what USB-C is supposed to be.
Yeah, and that's where it gets so frustrating at times.
It's like the meme of, there are X number of standards. We need to fix this. There are now X plus one number of standards. So I don't know if this will do like Thunderbolt and USB 4, any PCI Express lanes. So connecting high bandwidth devices like a graphics card or a dock. Don't know how that works, because this is compatible with USB-C, but it doesn't. There are different modes for USB-C, so we'll have to see when and if this eventually comes to our market, how that works.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, I was in hopes that it would cover it all, be like the ultimate Swiss Army knife cable. But yeah, it gets frustrating at times. I have to label my USB-C cables, just so that, if one is Thunderbolt, because it's nice having a universal interface or connector, but you kind of got to be careful with what's what.
Yeah, the nice thing is if you have a Thunderbolt cable, it should work for everything else.
Yes.
And if you have a high quality USB 4 cable, it should work for everything else. But honestly, same. I just try and have the highest quality cable I can, and I don't like to travel with 4 or 5 different USB-C cables at this point, because it defeats the purpose of moving everything to USB-C.
Yeah, over the last week or so, I've been trying to pare down. I found I had so many USB-C cables that, you get them. They just keep accumulating. They're like rabbits in a drawer, and it's like, come on. So I actually went through and pared down quite a few. And like you said, having that Thunderbolt really is kind of like, it does it all. So
Yeah, so something to look forward to. I haven't seen any USB-C ports on TVs here in the States yet. Maybe that'll be something we look forward to. Maybe CES next year. We start seeing those in January.
That'll be nice.
I don't know if y'all listen to her, but Sabrina Carpenter has been named the icon for the Fortnite Festival's eighth season. I really don't know how to explain this one. Mostly because they listed some of the music for the Music Pass features, and it's some songs you should not have your children listen to. She's not really someone that should be on a kid's game, though. That's the problem.
Are we making the assumption that everyone who plays Fortnite is a kid?
No, but
But kids have easy access to
Yes.
it. Yeah.
love this game.
Yeah, my second cousin is obsessed with Fortnite, and he is under the age of 15.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
if you do have a kid playing this game, I would be very, very cautious about how they're spending their $1,400 V-Bucks on this character. But I believe it's because of her very rapid rise to pop star legend icon, I guess, status. She opened for Taylor Swift, and that's what got her popular. But for anyone probably over the age of 18, you can go get Sabrina Carpenter for their 8th season festival and unlock some of her music that you can jam out to as you're playing as her.
So while you have Fortnite going in one we've got Instagram, Facebook, Messenger going in an opposite direction, which is actually a good direction as far as I'm concerned. Looks like teen restrictions are expanding on Instagram, Facebook, and Messenger. So with Meta bringing teen accounts to more platforms and blocking under 16s from live streaming on Instagram, that's a good move.
Meta started out with Instagram teen accounts. Instagram, I believe, is, for me, it was the first social media platform that I started out with. And there were no restrictions. So I'm actually really glad that they're putting these in place to protect kids.
Good. Yeah.
So.
Good move.
Okay. Does anyone remember?
No.
Intel Optane, or 3D Crosspoint, which was a joint operation or project between Micron and Intel. New DRAM Plus memory designed to provide DRAM performance with SSD-like storage capabilities uses FeRAM tech. Hafnium oxide FeRAM can combine high capacity and non-volatility. So it looks very similar to Intel Optane, which was a high-speed memory product in PCIe Gen 3 days, so pretty slow by today's standards, but that could work as memory in one mode, so expanding your system memory beyond a terabyte, 2 terabytes on those platforms, or in app direct mode just as storage. So we shipped a handful of systems, I think, with Optane accelerators for hard drives.
Yes.
So that would be a small SSD that could cache data from your hard drive for faster access. This is more of an enterprise technology where you need absolutely high throughput all the time, like memory, but you need more capacity than memory can provide. And you need it to be storage and non-volatile, because when you turn off your PC or restart, memory is wiped.
Yep.
So this would allow you to have those high speeds and high capacities without having to worry about a power issue or restarting a machine wiping the data. So looks pretty interesting. Would be interested to see actual products come out with this technology. Yep.
Yeah, I thought back in the day when Intel was announcing that whole Crosspoint thing, I thought, okay, this is going to happen. And in my head, I was trying to get my head around it. I was like, so that's going to eliminate the need for physical memory. And I was kind of worried about the memory manufacturers. Like, what's going to happen? It just never really came to fruition.
It was just so incredibly expensive at the time I think the first generation topped out 100 or 960 gigabytes.
Yeah.
And then second generation doubled that. And that just was not, feasible.
Right.
All right. YouTube's conducting a platform-wide review of age restriction content after mistakenly hitting Balatro. Please tell me I said that right.
You did.
Okay, Balatro videos for gambling. Anyone who's played the game knows it's not actually a gambling game, but people flagged videos of the game on YouTube with age restriction content, saying that this was not appropriate for anyone under the age of 18. So a lot of people kind of a lot of people protested, YouTube heard, and YouTube's now conducting a review of all of their videos to make sure that age restriction is not being abused for their videos. So I think that's a really good step for them to go in and see kind of what content's getting posted.
I like the Balatro creator. He posted on X and he just said, apparently we're getting hit with this.
Yeah.
And but I like his follow up. He said, good thing we're protecting children from knowing what a 4 of a kind is and letting them watch Counter-Strike case opening videos instead, because no gambling intent there. And at that point, when YouTube saw that, they quickly fixed things. And
I think that's what's led YouTube to is their creator calling out YouTube for the restrictions. Yeah. So I'm really glad that YouTube's actually listening to.
Exactly. And I could see how from a broad level, because it's kind of based around Texas Hold'em, which they admitted their error and they fixed it. So all good.
Yeah. So the Minecraft movie was released and let's just say it got a little crazy. Cops had to be called to a couple of movie theaters across the states when kids went into kind of a frenzy throwing popcorn at the screen when the zombie chicken jockey showed up on screen.
Did you throw your popcorn when you saw it?
I actually haven't seen the movie. I have seen the clip though, and I think it's kind of weird. The CGI characters freak me out a little bit. They're
kind of creepy looking.
Yeah, but I don't know. All of the kids are liking it, so.
Kids were going nuts on that video.
And also, I didn't know this, but Jennifer Coolidge is in the movie. And she has this whole sub love story with a Minecraft villager who makes his way to the human world from his own. His name is Nitwit. And I believe he gets hit with her car and she tries to convince him not to sue her because she's just a school principal, and ends up falling in love with this villager.
Wow.
So she had a lot of fun filming it, and I guess it's, it'll be interesting.
Are you going to go see it?
I don't think so. I also don't go into movie theaters anymore. I just think the prices have gotten a little ridiculous to go see a movie.
Especially with the tariffs, yes.
Especially with everything coming out on streaming.
All right, let's go ahead and get into tech treats.
All right, so the fantasy game of the week is Star Wars: The Old Republic. It is a free-to-play MMORPG that puts you in the center of your own story-driven saga. You play as either a Jedi, Sith, bounty hunter, or one of the other many iconic Star Wars roles in a galaxy far, far away over 300 years before the classic films.
And we were just talking about this a little bit before the podcast. At first, Lorenzo and I was like, oh, you mean KOTOR? The Knights of the Old Republic? Is like, no, okay, so it's kind of interesting. I was not familiar with this, and they're still this came out 2011.
2011,
and it's been out for all this time, and then they're still working on it. So it looks pretty cool.
It is free to play on Steam, but you can also buy the Join the Fight bundle, or there is a subscription for it as well. So
wonder if it's kind of like Lord of the Rings online, where probably you can do microtransactions and stuff.
If you're a fan of The Sims, our next game, Inzoi, might pique your interest. Every life becomes a story. Create your unique story by controlling and observing the lives of Zois. Customize characters and build houses using Inzoi's easy-to-use tools to live the life of your dreams and experience the different emotions of life created by its deep and detailed simulation. It's rated T for Teen, is $39.99 on Steam, and is currently in early access. The interesting thing with this game is it does implement quite a few of NVIDIA's AI features. So you can create custom textures and create in-game 3D models from 2D scans or images that you upload to customize your home and your city more. So
Oh, that's cool.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, might be worth checking out.
Holy crap, these videos or the photos that they show on Steam, it's very much a more realistic Sims.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So going for more of a realistic visual approach, and they'll let you create custom textures for clothing or wallpapers or items in your home. It seems pretty interesting.
That is so cool. Another free demo game that you can check on out is Squirreled Away. Live your best squirrel life. Explore, gather, craft, and build incredible tree houses in acres of beautiful parkland. Scurry across lawns, up trees, and leap limb from limb solo or with up to 4 friends that can play co-op. Endless summer days of adventure await. It is $14.99 on Steam, but there is a free demo for you to download.
Is there an option to grab a gun while you're the squirrel?
The squirrel before they turn to a life of crime.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the squirrel. Yeah, it's the squirrel before it falls into the room to get the golden acorns.
So if you're looking for something a little faster paced, you can pick up Haste. Run fast, soar through the air, and master your landings as you speed through procedurally generated worlds to outrun the end of the universe. It is $19.99 on Steam and also has a free demo available.
That's cool. And this week with the Epic Games of the Week, Abby, you'd mentioned not just one, not even 2, but 3 games.
3 games. Arcadegeddon. Again, all the time, I apologize if I butcher a game's name. Rise up and play with up to 3 friends in this ever-evolving cooperative multiplayer shooter game. Explore multiple biomes, mini-games, find hidden chests, and defeat numerous enemies and bosses. Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms is a Dungeons and Dragons strategy management game uniting characters from throughout the D&D multiverse in a grand adventure. Then River City Girls. There's trouble again in River City, and this time only the girls can save the day. Use a variety of attacks, weapons, and items. These hot-blooded heroines are ready to teach the city's lowlife a lesson. You can play solo or 2-player co-op, an old-school rumble for a new generation.
Excellent. So grab those before Thursday of next week, I believe.
Yeah, Thursday at 10. And they also, Epic has a Epic's Savings event going on now until the 24th.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Abby.
No problem.
Let's go ahead and talk about, let's go ahead and get into the next segment, Pack Talk. We got an email from one of our listeners. In fact, the one that we helped with the Steam Deck, and he wrote and said, "Thank you for all the great podcast content. You're very welcome." And he went on to say, so he has one more question for us for this week, and it does follow up with the Steam Deck. And he said, "What I wanted to ask you all is, why do I see some people say ext4 is the best format for the Steam Deck, and your team said exFAT? I'm just curious."
Yeah, that's a great question. So the reason first difference between the two, exFAT is a primarily Windows file system for removable storage. It's not journaled, which means that it does not record or keep track of changes you're making as you make them. Just once the file is finished, it updates that. So if you were to try and write something to the drive and unplug it during that write, you could corrupt the data on the drive. Not great, but it does have cross-platform compatibility with Mac, Windows, and Linux. So that's why we recommended that if he was going to be moving the library from a Windows PC to a Steam Deck and back and forth. ext4 is native to Linux. You can read it on Windows, but you have to install additional software. It is journaled. So if you were writing something mid-write, unplug the drive, you likely would not corrupt it. You just wouldn't have that file updated. If you're just going to use this, to the viewer who wrote in, if you're just going to use it on your Steam Deck, I'd go with the ext4 just for the journaling feature. If you're going to move it between Windows and Linux like you'd originally planned to, I would leave it as exFAT.
Gotcha.
That's it. Yeah.
Gotcha. So if it's strictly Steam Deck only, you'd probably be a little safer going with the XT4.
Definitely. Yeah. ext4 is just a better file system, but it doesn't have the same cross-platform compatibility.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that makes sense. And so if you have any other questions, definitely hit us up. But great question. So I'm glad you asked. So, we've kind of hinted around with it at the beginning of the podcast, talking about the tariffs, and we're not turning this into a political show by any extent, but tariffs are certainly affecting our situation right now because a good number of our components do come out of China. So we are working hard right now on trying to get our heads wrapped around all the implications, how this will be affecting us. What I did want to mention, without turning this into a commercial for DogHouse, is to say we currently, kind of knowing things were going to be happening, we did proactively decide to go ahead and try to stock up on items as good as we could. And what we don't want to do for our customer base is say, hey, we are affected with tariffs, so immediately we're going to have to just simply raise our prices. That's not who we are, and that's not what we're going to do. So as far as we're concerned, we're going to go through the existing inventory that we have, go through it, and without any type of price hikes. But once we get to that point where we are going to be looking at some of those, and we're going to share that accordingly. That may be a situation where it may only affect a certain number of components at the beginning, because we may not have all equal amount of components that are in the system. So those prices will get adjusted accordingly. It's not just going to be a blanket across the board adjustment right away. So just wanted to let you guys know that hopefully things will get worked out. We're hopeful, or hoping for that, I should say. But as is, it's one of those things that it feels like things are just changing on a very rapid situation. We're just going to have to kind of cross each bridge as we come up to them.
With that said, John, would you say it's probably a good idea if someone's planning a PC build or a PC purchase to maybe check back weekly? That way we'll update the prices, I'm assuming, as reasonably quickly as we can. Yep. But especially if someone's trying to set aside for a system, maybe check back frequently to adjust their budget accordingly.
Absolutely. And check in with us. If y'all have any questions, you could email us at sales@DogHouse Systems, or give us a call at our number 972-418-0945. And we'd be happy to talk with you guys. If there just happened to be somebody that was on the fence getting ready to purchase, and they want to do it now, I'd say, hey, this is probably a good time for you to go ahead and do it. There's no pressure, but I honestly can't see prices getting better in the near future. So that may be the situation where that is something to look at. And on top of everything else, we've been having a bit of a time trying to just get certain video cards like the RTX 5090s. Those have been next to impossible. And we've even got orders in for 5070s and 5070 Ti's. We're kind of in limbo right now with some of that. We do have 5080s in stock. Mm-hmm. So if somebody's interested in that, that's a good opportunity to jump on those. And we're in close communications. In fact, we've got a meeting coming up this morning with PNY. So by the next podcast, we'll have, hopefully some more updates. Hopefully by the next podcast, we'll have some better news to talk about. But in lieu of that, we just wanted to be transparent and open with our listeners. So that's our take on it at this point in time.
And in a little bit of a pick-me-up at the end of the podcast, we are now offering AMD platforms. So if that's something you have been holding out and hoping that we will offer, we now have them live. Abby's been hard at work adding those to the website, so give them a look.
Yeah, currently we offer the AMD and our Armor ES with the Ryzen 7, and then the Armor TL has the Ryzen 9.
We'd like to thank one of our podcasts for a non-ad. One of our good friends, John, mentioned it on the Core podcast, and great guys over there. And we we already on occasions have had customers asking, why don't you have it on your site? But then we kind of really got quite a few folks coming to us, and it was enough to say, hey, let's go ahead and get these added to the site. So thanks to those guys over there. And yeah, good stuff. So I think this pretty much wraps up this episode.
If you want to get in contact with us, feel free to send us an email, podcast@doghousesystems.com. Leave us a voicemail at 972-810-4347, or DM us on our socials, Instagram, Facebook, X, and Threads at Doghouse Systems.
Thanks for joining us on this one. And
It was fun.
Yeah. And hope all you guys out there in the world are doing all right, and take care. And we'll be back in a couple weeks for episode number 22 of the DogHouse Podcast.
Woot woot.
Take care, y'all.